Hello, Sunday friends, or actually any day of the week because we are internet based and you could be viewing this at any time. But for me, it's Sunday, which is a great day to write. I often find myself being more relaxed, which is better. Let me be clear. I prefer to write when I have too many feelings to deal with or when my whole entire plate is clear and I'm kind of relaxed. So I guess I'm hoping you're writing today from a relaxed state, but whatever works for you, and what works for me, works for me. Hey, Lynn, I see you popping in, and anyone else who views this now or later. I do want to share, most of the time I come up with writing exercises because they're things that have worked for me, or maybe I'm wondering if they'll be fun to do. Today, we're actually going to be using something from this book by Hazel Smith called The Writing Experiment. And I want to remind you, it's an option. You don't have to take it, but there is the Recovery Fine Arts Festival. So they're accepting submissions up until August 18th. So that would give you a little over 2 weeks to work on a poem. Or if outside of this you are into photography or painting or any other medium, you could certainly do that. But we're still working on poetry and we'll continue to do so up until the 16th, the last weekend before it's due. And then we'll either discontinue Get Right or we'll switch back to fiction. So definitely let me know if this is a thing you want me to keep doing. Even if I choose not to or there is enough interest, there are a whole log of other videos on our YouTube going over writing exercises. And I'm happy to share some books that are full of strategies. Anyways, let's get to the fun part. Today, we're going to mix together two strategies I found in this book that I thought might be fun. And the first one, not to be cheesy, but it's summer themed. And what I want you to do is create a pool of words. The teacher in me wants to give you a theme, but the poet in me knows that the more random and unconnected these words are, the more fun the next exercise could be. Sorry, my computer's all over. So grab a piece of paper, and I know I usually say whatever, but this one's definitely going to work better on piece of paper. So grab a piece of paper, grab a writing utensil. I'm using blue, like water. And I want you to make a pool of 20 words. So random words, whatever comes to mind. If you're like, ugh, no creativity, you can use a random word generator off the internet for a few of them to get your mind going. Let's say, I feel like 2 minutes should be ample time. I'm going to go ahead and start my timer. So right? Oh man, we're 30 seconds in. I better start with my pool of words. They could be phrases. Like, for example, I just wrote cedar waxing because it's a cool bird I saw and was talking about this morning. So although it's not one word, it's like one chunk, it's a phrase. If you're feeling stuck, I saw a little stress ball on my desk and I was like, car, too basic. Convertible, cool. And then the C sound reminded me of chameleon, which would be cool also. So literally just 20 words that pop into your mind. And if you're feeling stuck, just look around like, oh, what's around me? About 20 more seconds. All right. Go ahead and finish up. Okay, if you don't have 20, it's not really a big deal. We're not going to use all of them. This next part's going to sound really weird, so we'll take a little interlude. One of the studies on the English language determines that the most beautiful phrase is cellar door. So I really encourage you, if you're home, just to say those two words, cellar door. And it's something about the way that your tongue and lips move through your mouth when you say those two words that increases its beauty. There's also this S sound with the C next to the L, and there's a lot of science and critical theory that go into it, but cellar door is one of them. So what I want you to do is ignore meaning for a moment. Go through your list, read every word, and put a star next to ones that like feel cool to say. Either you like the sound of them when you hear them, or it's just like cellar door feels cool. Another one I think feels cool is plank. So I would put a star next to that. So as weird as it sounds, just trust me on this one. Go ahead and read your words. Like I have the word bracelet. I think it's cool, but I hate the way that it feels coming out of my mouth. So bracelet's not going to make it, but sanitize. I kind of like that one. Meaning, I just saw hand sanitizer. But right now we're ignoring all meaning and just going with words that feel cool or sound cool. So if you see me talking to myself, I'm literally talking to myself. All right, hopefully you have 1 to 4 words. This next one's gonna be a little weird, but what we're doing is we're playing with the music of language. If you've been here for any of the other weeks, we've really focused on getting across meaning and creating metaphors and infusing the senses. But one of the primary purposes of poetry is that it's meant to be heard. You know, whereas books are meant to be read silently for the most part, poetry is really a sound experience. So it should exist on paper, but it should be something pleasant to the ear. So today I want to work on that. And the first thing that we're going to do is association by sound. So for example, say I had written the word ghost and I thought that that sounded cool. I would go ghost, green grate, green guard, green grain. So you hear that echoing of the GR and the two words paired together. Are they words that rhyme? Absolutely not. But what I want you to do is spend some time working with associations. Now, I can only get so far with ghost, right? So that's why I said hopefully you've chosen 1 to 4 words, because once you're done doing sound associations for one word, I want you to go ahead and choose another one. So I might go green ghost, green grate, green guard, green grain. This is boring, but truth is another one I chose. Truth token, truth truck, truth roof, truth suit, truth soup. So silly things, but again, we're not working on meaning yet. So for this one, I'm gonna go a little bit longer. Instead of 2 minutes, let's do 6 minutes of associations by sound. type those directions up for you. So it's really listing sound associations. This is actually really difficult. My brain's super stuck on meaning. A strategy I'm forcing myself to use because I'm like, we're only 2.5 minutes in and I said 6. I'm trying to work backwards. Jackie, I love that. I love Scrabble, so this is perfect. I love you because this is hard for me and I can't wait to hear how other people's come out. But just to share an example, I did sanitize and I want to go right to prostalize, because it's a cool meaning, but it doesn't sound the same really. So I switched to sane ties. Like, how can I see 2 words in there? Or which led to sanitary Mike, like MIC to Saint Mike. Hopefully that's helpful. Is the why for why we love Scrabble or why are we doing this? Because why are we doing this? We're playing with the sound of language, period. So it's a way to break it out into a little activity. And the hope is by the end of all of it, we'll be able to pull together something that resembles a poem. But if it's why loving Scrabble would be helpful, because Scrabble, you just get a bunch of tiles and have to make a word. So it's kind of like moving around the letters and the sounds to make new words. Like reliable. Ooh, I bet that one's fun. For those of you playing along, just about 2 more minutes. So again, we're going for sound, not meaning. All right, about 30 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and pause. All right, this is the part where I annoyingly but necessarily say each week to set down your writing utensil, turn your brain off for a moment. The further we can step away from our writing, the more fresh eyes we can have when we go towards it. And you're really going to need that because we've really focused on sound. Now we're going to transition into meaning. And I just want to read you a little excerpt from this book. Again, I'm not doing the exercise exactly, but it says, in this exercise, I've generated words largely by dissociation. Kind of like for us, what that means is just by focusing on sounds, there's no real association based on any meaning. It's just they sound nice together. By writing down a second word which seemed to have no immediate connection with the first, but it is surprising how once you place unrelated words side by side, a connection between them can suddenly be forged. In my list, you can see that there is some mileage in the notion of a nest of truths or a bird of truth. So I think that's really important. You know, if we went into cognitive theory, you know, outside of the writing realm and talked about the extreme creativity of the human brain and coming up with stories. You know, you drive by, maybe you see a car on the side of the road with a tow truck. Your brain already uses everything it's ever seen and heard to come up with some type of story. Sometimes it's something a little more bizarre, like you come home and the neighbor's door in the hallway has been splintered open. Well, your brain's going to actively search for meaning because that's where we get safety, is meaning. So it's really cool to see how that plays out with random words. When you put two words next to each other, like bird of truth, all of a sudden, like, wow, what a beautiful metaphor. So sometimes when we're writing real high quality creative pieces, it comes from a place we would least expect. You know, it's not like, ooh, let me find a metaphor. It's, ooh, let's find some words that sound cool and then let our brains create the metaphors out of them. So this is the next thing that we're going to do. And we're going to make some associations based on meaning. So again, before we get there, we're going to focus on sound. And then we're going to take a couple of things that sound cool and we're going to associate some words that have meaning. So go through your list you just generated, read them out loud. I'll give you 2 minutes for this again, and put a star next to 2 or 3 of them that you want to work with. While you're doing this, it's not just the sound. You also want it to be kind of cool because we are transitioning into meaning. And when I say cool, I mean it captures your interest or intrigues you or resonates with some feeling that you have. All right, about 30 more seconds. All right, go ahead and finish that up. All right, go ahead and pause. So this next part, what I want you to do is think of associations. For example, one of the phrases, discord, got to discard and discard and wrong card, right? And I really like the idea of wrong card. So that was the sound association. Now I'm going to move into meaning. So I'm going to start with wrong card. And I'm going to think of every possible way I could explain that. So wrong card, incorrect, not the suit I'm looking for, wrong suit, incorrect suit, and just kind of, again, not this time, I guess I'm shifting, not caring about the sound and just working on the essence of that word and whatever it means to me in the moment. The reason I told you to choose more than one is I'm only going to get so far with wrong card. You'll probably only get so far with your word. Once you've kind of tapped it out, you have no more left, move on to the other one. And if you have questions, please leave them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. But we are going to do this for 4 minutes. And again, don't get too caught up on getting it right. So from wrong card, I got hearts instead of spades, and spade reminds me of a shovel. So the next thing I wrote was shovel more, feel less. Right? So after that, I'm probably not even going to mention playing cards anymore, but it did start with wrong card. So just let your brain do what it does best and work free. About halfway done. Right, about a minute left. All right, go ahead and finish up your list. And if you could just listen for a moment. So here's where we depart. Oh, geez. All this playing with words has me confused. If you are interested in submitting a poem to the Recovery Fine Arts Festival, I recommend you take one approach. If you're just writing for fun today, then I'm going to recommend a different approach. And they might overlap. So what that means is if you're writing for the Recovery Fine Arts Festival, your theme should be recovery or substance use disorder or something in that realm. So then what I want you to do is go through these association lists, preferably the one that you just made, and find something that sticks out that's true to that. Now, if you're on the other track, I'm just here to write a poem because I had nothing else to do on this Sunday afternoon, or it's what I wanted to do. Then you can go through and look for what stands out to you. So let me give you an example. From Wrong Card, I came up with, like I shared, hearts instead of spades, shovel more, feel less. I could push that into recovery, right? Now my brain, just like we talked about, it'll fill in all the blanks if you let it. Like, oh, that's what addiction was like for me. Like, shovel more, like, dig that hole deeper, just anything to not feel the feelings. The physical labor of digging that hole lets my mind take a break from reminding me of all the things I'm trying to ignore. So it could be a great metaphor. Whereas if I'm just looking at things that stand out to me, the word sane, as in SANE, ties from sanitize, sane ties, I like the phrases twisty ties that aren't frayed, friends like life preservers, and anchor. Like, I just think that's like a cool idea. Like, I feel like I'm losing my sanity when I'm getting frayed, and using the image of like twisty ties that hold like maybe a bag of bread, like something that really means life. I don't know, I'm probably just like thinking way too much about that, but that's what I do. I guess now that I'm saying out loud, I could push that into recovery too, right? Like feeling that insanity and you're all over the place, and then getting an anchor in sobriety. And then from that anchor, moving towards not just staying put, but searching for help, the life preserver in the form of friends. But really, all that's just to say, you should have some words that sound very cool to you and some ideas that are meaningful. In between those, you can piecemeal a poem together. Now, we're pretty much up for time today, so I'm going to type this in the chat. But basically, if you're feeling it, just do some free verse and come up with a poem. And remember, the first draft's the worst draft. No matter how good it is, no matter how bad it is, it's the first one. It's going to get tossed for a better one. So no pressure. The second one is, if you're not feeling poetry at this moment, set a timer and just write like a paragraph with no breaks. And then go back through and take away what you don't need, keep what you do, and that could be the skeleton of your poem. Okay, so I'm going to type that, give you some time to share any things that you came up with or any questions you have. As I'm posting this, I do want to mention you can write about recovery and not submit it to the festival. Like, for me, creative expression is a way to get in touch with myself and just like get something done. You know what I mean? How like a to-do list, it feels so good to cross stuff off. Like the thing about a small creative piece versus writing a book, right? Or a story, like a poem you write in a half hour, regardless of whether anyone ever sees it, like I sat down, I started something and I finished it, and that makes me feel good. So for me, that's how it's a process in my own mental hygiene or mental health and wellness, is just finding things that give me that joy out of the sense of completion. So I don't mean to push the Fine Arts Festival like it's something you have to do. But I also know for me personally, when I have a carrot in front of me, like, oh, there's a reason you're writing this, it makes me put a little more concentrated effort into it. So it's helpful. And for anyone else that works the same way, I just wanted to offer that. Plus, it is New York based and a cool opportunity to represent what recovery is and reduce stigma, which is part of recovery's mission in and of itself. So that's the other reason. All that talking just to say, hopefully you enjoyed writing something. I'll put my email in the comments before I log off. If you want to share with me just to celebrate or for feedback and suggestions, I would love to get an email of your poems. I appreciate all of you that show up when you do and when you can. Jackie, I see you said thank you, but really thank you. It makes my day to be able to share this and be a part of the community, even though I'm not leaving my house. So I say it all the time and I mean it all the time. I love all of you. And if you're looking for a sense of community and you want to meet people, Recovery is doing their outdoor events. So 6 days a week, there's either a hike, a bike ride, or workout. Some in the morning, some in the evenings. You can check out our calendar. If you're looking for activities, but not necessarily the fellowship, all of our workouts, writing, and other talks are on our YouTube channel. And if you want some more intense help through your journey through recovery, we do have outreach engagement specialists. So you could always email us or call the main line and get hooked up with that. So we're here for you, and we like that you are here for us. Oh yeah, don't forget about our 5K. All of the profits go to Recovery itself and being able to keep people on board who can further the mission, but more importantly, to pay for the events that we offer to the community. So that's coming up too. More news on our Facebook, and I'll do a better job promoting it next Sunday. All right, friends, that's it for today. Awkward log off. I forgot to put my email. Okay, this time is really goodbye.